Looking around for the phone number, it's 1-800-39-ONLINE. 1-800-396-6546.
Online Tonight.
I don't know who's writing your material, but it's very VH1.
What?
And now, from the craziest city on the planet, this is Online Tonight, on the air toll-free at 1-800-39-ONLINE, 1-800-396-6546. And now, the host of Online Tonight, Max.
All right, welcome. Thank you so much for joining Online Tonight on this marvelous Monday. I am Max Smart. The name of the show is Online Tonight, where we talk about tech, pop culture, and more. This is episode number 2117. People say, what is more? More is just pretty much anything except for politics. I don't talk politics. There's a lot of great people out there. I don't know what side you're on. I try to keep this as apolitical as possible, except for when it comes to just reporting on the, like the government is doing this to AI, or the FCC is making it so that you can't buy something. I'll share that stuff, but I try not to get a bias or a commentary in there. So more theme parks, video games, movies, TV shows, pets, food, things like that. So that's kind of what more is. Coming up this hour, of course, we have our normal array of features, our Geek Speak, where we take a tech term and turn it into plain English right before your very ears. We got the Bookmark This. I need to turn my phone off. We also have new ways to watch baseball, some hacking concerns, and a popular webcam loses a subject. So even though there might be one small sad item in our news today, we are still very excited to be with you. And one of the reasons we're excited to be with you is we provide free tech support. Have been doing it since the early 90s. You have a question about something, we love to help you with that. You can be my eyes and my ears. If you call us while we're live using our toll-free telephone number on our Broadcast Bionics Caller 1 system. The number 1-800-39-ONLINE is what you want to use. 1-800-396-6546 is the toll-free telephone number. I always have follow-up questions, so that's absolutely the best way. Now, if you're listening to the audio archive or watching the stream archive, the visual show, or maybe you subscribe to the podcast, we still love to hear from you, and it's easy. You email show@onlinetonight.com with your questions, your comments, your suggestions. You can also send a text. You can also leave a text, or send a text, leave a voicemail. Yeah, there you go. You can send a text or leave a voicemail using this number, 951-395-1017. Data rates may apply. Leaving a voicemail is your authorization to broadcast your likeness. Again, that number, 951-395-1017. Victoria is producing the show. She's answering your calls. She's checking for all your messages, whether you're chatting on Twitch or YouTube, or you're texting, or you're leaving voicemails, or you're calling in. She's there to chat with you before you jump on the air. Before we jump into tech security, this portion of the show is brought to you by Paramount Plus. This streamer has become a serious contender in the ring with the UFC and the Zuffa boxing. That's all available on the basic plan. But if you have the premium plan, you're going to get some extra sports like the WNBA, the PGA, a lot of golf fans out there that I know, LPGA, and Major League Pickleball. Find out all that Paramount Plus has to offer by visiting our website, onlinetonight.com/stream, onlinetonight.com/stream. Show is also brought to you by my new line of pirate merchandise. So if you have a chance, check that out. Also on our website, onlinetonight.com/store. All right, let's jump into a little bit of tech security. OpenAI is delaying its next model over some hacking concerns. OpenAI has paused work on its upcoming AI model, codename, I believe, Astra, A-S-T-R-A, because internal tests show that its cybersecurity abilities could be dangerously advanced. That's not a direct quote from them, but it seems like that's what they're saying. So Astra may meet OpenAI's critical cyber capability threshold, including potential zero-day vulnerabilities in hardened critical systems and carrying out novel cyber attacks without human help. Oh, that reminds me. Apple just came out with another update because some AI stuff broke one of their screen sharing features. You don't even need a password and you can control somebody's computer. So AI is really making these operating system companies work, and get those patches out. And even when the patches come out, the AI has figured out how to get around it. So this is what OpenAI is really concerned about. They're putting these stronger safeguards in there so that they can restrict some of the access and keeping them sandboxed and all these things. The company plans to work with governments and AI safety organizations to evaluate Astra. Astra has not been formally announced, but OpenAI previously revealed that the model solved 10 open problems in mathematics and theoretical computer science for about $2,000 in API costs. So I don't know. Is that how much does research and math and all that stuff normally cost? I have no idea. There's no reference here. I mean, if you're, let's say, a tenured professor and you're making $80,000 a year and it takes you 10 years to solve the problem, that's like $1 million almost, isn't it? Okay, that's math. Too much math. AI cybersecurity capabilities are already creating huge volumes of vulnerabilities, prompting companies like Apple to limit bug bounty submissions. In case you didn't know that, if you found a bug in an Apple system, they'd give you money. Now, because of so much AI stuff and all the submissions that they've been getting, a bunch of which are not right, they've pretty much almost completely canceled the bug bounty now. Anthropic's Claude Mythos can identify critical vulnerabilities and potentially exploit them. So they are limiting the access of that model to select companies. Developments highlight the growing challenge of balancing increasingly capable AI cybersecurity tools with the risks that those same capabilities could enable on a large scale, like shutting down cell phone networks. We just had a major outage with Verizon over the weekend. It was localized in our area. It wasn't a global, aka national thing. It was just in my market. But what if it had been someone else that had a broader vision and used some of these tools to bring the thing down? Who knows? All right. Hackers have been targeting Wi-Fi in hotels. Microsoft warns that apparently Russia hackers are targeting hotel and hospitality Wi-Fi networks in a campaign called Captive Crunch.
How do they know what the hackers are calling it?
I don't. That's a great question, and I don't know the
I
answer.
think it's a nickname maybe that Microsoft.
Well, I
came
think
up
there's
with.
I think there's always this kind of weirdness. Anyway, it's always blamed on Russia or China, right, for these hackings, and they're the government is sponsoring these things to happen. Why would the government care about people that are on vacation in a hotel? Okay, that's the first part. That's not where I would spend my
It's to get
taxpayer money. Go ahead.
It's to get their login for it because they're checking their accounts, their home accounts, and their bank.
Oh,
accounts
banking?
Yeah, it's to capture all that information.
If I was an evil government, let me just put my my scary villain face on. I would not waste my time on citizens in a hotel or a Starbucks. I would be going after. I'm not giving anybody ideas, but power, water, military sites, large-scale manufacturing industrial places.
What they're hoping is that people are checking their crypto and they're able to steal that.
I feel like you go after the banks directly. You're going to get way more money than
but you can go under the radar
grand.
if you're doing it one person at a time.
But if it's Russian state-sponsored, you want that big money, right?
Putin wants a new present, so they got to buy him something online.
Okay. Well, apparently these attackers were identified as Storm 2945 and listed to and linked to Midnight Blizzard. These are like hacking groups, I guess. and they've been compromising hospitality Wi-Fi. So a lot of things that you'll see popping up on these Wi-Fi networks are fake Windows updates, Security Defender updates, Microsoft C++ installers, browser updates, PDF viewers. So they fake these kinds of things so they can get more access to your computer to go after things like Miss Victoria mentioned, banking, your crypto wallet, which is already at risk with AI, and things like that. So either use your phone's hotspot or be very careful on what you do when you're on these hotel or hospitality Wi-Fi networks. Do you use these a lot? I don't find myself using public Wi-Fi very much. Maybe I'm paranoid. Are you paranoid? 1-800-39-ONLINE.
Online tonight.
Geek Speak.
All right, Geek Speak, where we take a tech term and turn it into plain English right before your very ears. This hour's Geek Speak is DPI, which is an acronym, DPI. I'll give you that in just a moment. Before we do that, this portion of the show is brought to you by Anchor. I'm excited that Anchor has their new Nano wireless car charger. That means your phone is held securely within view using the Qi 2 certified 15-watt wireless charging pad. Not only does the holder, it's kind of, it holds your phone like in your car or whatever. It rotates 360 degrees, it tilts 45 degrees to help you find the most comfortable viewing angle. You can also take that wireless charging pad with you, like into the office or hotel or whatever. And so that's a cool little addition. You don't have to pack a bunch of extra stuff because you can use the same charger in both the car, and you can just slip it in your bag when you're done. You can check out all the great Anchor products by visiting our website, onlinetonight.com/anchor, onlinetonight.com/anker. Now, DPI, which is an acronym that stands for dots per inch, and it is a measurement of print resolution that describes how many individual ink dots a printer can place within a single square inch of paper. The higher the DPI, the more detail and sharpness that will be on the printed image. Now, it does say dots per inch. So you're immediately thinking inkjet printer. Well, this also is the same thing with laser printers. They also put down dots. They just don't put dots of ink. They put down dots of toner, which are then baked, whereas in an inkjet printer, it just dries. So there you go. For an example would be 600 DPI printer can print 600 dots horizontally and 600 dots vertically within a single inch. That's why it says square inch. That's a total of 360,000 dots that would be in just that inch. Modern printers can support up to 1,200 DPI or more, which will make the gradients nicer. You'll get finer details on your photos. DPI affects the quality of printed photos, graphics, and text. Professional quality printing usually uses images that are at least 300 pixels per inch, or PPI, to ensure sharp results on paper. DPI refers specifically to printed dots, not screen dots. So screen dots are PPI, commonly 72. The terms are often used interchangeably, but DPI is technically the measurement for printers. So don't get confused when it comes to your display resolution. So if you're in like a Photoshop or Affinity or one of those types of things, you can set the output to DPI, and then the file keeps that information and knows how many dots it should have, even though your display is probably not going to be showing that much detail on the screen. So there you are. That is this hour's Geek Speak DPI.
Online tonight.
All right, phone lines are open. Use our Broadcast Bionics Caller One system and our toll-free telephone number, 1-800-39-ONLINE, 1-800-396-6546. Don't forget, you can follow me on X and Instagram. I use the same account name on both platforms. Max Smart Radio, all one word, Max Smart Radio. on X and the Insta, as the kids say. Victoria.
We have a question in a text from someone called Plugged In
Mm-hmm.
Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
I've been there.
I got a good deal on a bunch of smart plugs, but since a lot of my appliances have their own smart features, I'm not sure what to use them for other than indoor lamps and outdoor holiday lighting. Got any interesting tips or tricks for using smart plugs?
Oh, I have tons of them. Let me tell you how I use couple different Wi-Fi smart plugs in my house, not here at the studio, but at the house. I have a media server where I keep music and some DVDs that I've owned. I've put them on there legally. I've legally ripped the DVD video onto this thing. And I have that computer set to automatically start on a power change or power state change. So what happens is I shut down that computer. I go to my little Wi-Fi plug controller and I turn it off. And then when I want to watch something, I go to the Wi-Fi controller and I turn it on. And then the machine automatically boots up. I don't have to go into the server room and push the button, because when the Wi-Fi lets the power through to the computer, it says, oh, I have power, and it automatically starts up. So that I do that on a couple different computers for different reasons. So that's one thing you could do is if you have a media, you got to shut the media server down correctly. Don't just, turn the plug off. That could damage it. But there's a lot of things that you can use for. A lot of people are, if you don't have if you have an old, say, coffee machine, you could put a smart plug on that. If you have, I see this in office buildings sometimes, fans. And what's cool about smart plugs is you can actually set time of day things. So if you know those oscillating fans, it's been very hot. And even with the air conditioner on, sometimes there's warm spots, especially if you've got a large section of glass in your office. You might have one of those oscillating fans. Well, between the hours of, say, 10 to 3 or 10 to 4, you could have the smart plug come on, then the fan will start going. And then at 3 or 4 o'clock, boom, automatically removes the power and the fan would stop going. So that's pretty cool. People do this with space heaters too. You shouldn't run your space heater while you're sleeping. So maybe you want to warm the room and you could have that on. And then, a half an hour or 40 minutes after you go to sleep, the smart plug could turn that off. I use a smart plug for another light that I have. It comes on at sunset. And then it goes off at 11 so that I have light in that space if I need it. So that's another way. If you have a pet water fountain, you could turn that on and off. If you have a crock pot, the old crock pot that I have just has a dial. And so I could put everything in there and then I could turn the dial and then I could have it pop on using a smart plug. And then the crock pot item would be ready. I'm weird about that though, because, let's say I leave at 7 o'clock in the morning and the smart plug is going to start at like 3 o'clock because I want it ready at 5:30. Well, that's a lot of hours where it's just sitting in a crock pot. I feel like that's leaving it out. So I'm weird about, meat health. If you have a Wi-Fi router, you know how you call tech support and they say, turn off your router and let it sit off for 30 seconds. And then, well, what if that's far away? If that's far away, you could use a smart plug. And then when they tell you to turn it off, you could use the little app on your phone, turn it off. And, that might not work because if it's the router that has your Wi-Fi, you've turned that off, and then you no longer have access to the plug. So that might not be a good one. But electric blankets, televisions, if your television doesn't have like a sleep feature, you could use a smart plug to do stuff like that. There's lots of reasons. If you think of some and you want to help out Plugged In, give us some other ideas on how you use those smart plugs. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to submit a question like Plugged In did, the email address is show@onlinetonight.com. It's Online Tonight. Stay tuned.
We're on the air live tonight. 1-800-39-ONLINE. 1-800-396-6546 is the number.
Online tonight.
We already made $300 today from internet orders.
And we're doing a good deed by bringing alcohol to shut-ins and people under house arrest.
My name is Max. The name of the show is Online Tonight. You got to turn the microphone on. For our visual watchers, you probably noticed I put my hand up to my nose to push my glasses up. I found this weird. I did not wear my glasses to an event over the weekend, and I still found myself doing that even though I didn't even have my glasses on. Miss Victoria does the same thing. She usually has sunglasses on the top of her head. We don't know why. Probably instead of those
a headband.
clips or the headband or whatever. And so she puts her hand up and she tilts her head back. And she does that even if she doesn't have the sunglasses on her head. And people and family members think it's funny.
The weirder thing is that your daughter does that all the time, and she doesn't wear sunglasses on her head.
I know. She just thinks that you have to touch the top of your head when you're
drinking something.
Online Tonight, my name is Max. Use our Broadcast Bionics Caller One system using our toll-free telephone number, 1-800-39-ONLINE, 1-800-396-6546. You can also send a text and a voicemail. You could do both if you want, or you can just do one or the other. The email address, show@onlinetonight.com. The text voicemail number is 951-395-1017. Before we jump into Apple News, this portion of the show is brought to you by the Power Lunch at Benihana. You know, we go to Benihana for the full dinner experience, usually for birthdays and anniversaries, you know, where they cut up the shrimp. Sometimes they throw it at you, try to get you to catch it. They spin the egg around. They light the onion volcano. Sometimes it's just smoke. Sometimes it's with fire. So it's a good show. And, you know, it takes a while. They're not rushing you. But they have this new thing called the Power Lunch. What makes it power? You're getting food that you like. You're getting it within 45 minutes. You're guaranteed to be in and out within 45 minutes. How do they do that? Well, you're not getting the shrimp appetizer. You're not getting the tails in the hat trick. You're not getting the fiery volcano onion thing, but you're getting a lot of stuff. You're going to get your choice of chicken, shrimp, or tofu for $16. You can get the filet or the New York strip for $19.95. It's going to come with soup or salad. You pick one or the other, not both. You get hibachi rice. Don't have to pay extra for that. And you get vegetables. So that's good. That's really all you need for lunch. It's a great deal, and it's a fun way to do it. It's available Monday through Thursday from 11 to 5. Remember, powered lunch. So 11 to 5. And Fridays from 11 to 3. You can check it out by visiting your nearest Benihana, or you can go to Benihana.com. And my recommendation, of course, is become a friend with benefits, because then you get a birthday bonus. So thank you to Benihana for that. Let's jump into a little bit of Apple news. We don't hear a lot about the Apple Vision Pro very often. One, most of us can't afford it. I can't afford it. I haven't even found a friend that can afford it so I can try it. So the only place I've ever seen it or touched it is in an Apple store. But there are people apparently out there that have it. And there are some really interesting things people are doing with it, like medicine and, panorama movies and things like that. Well, if you have one of those and you're a sports fan, then you're going to be excited that Apple and MLB are bringing 3D baseball games to the Apple Vision Pro through Apple Immersive. The games will use 8K video and a 180-degree field of view, creating an immersive 3D view of the action. The first game will be on August 28th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It's the Red Sox versus the Yankees. So what a bang, right? What a way to start it off. Two big rivals, East Coast rivals. And you're going to be able to see that there. That's the first game. There'll be more. ProVision users need the Apple TV subscription, obviously. There's no additional charge for the game. The MLB stuff is there already, but if you're a subscriber. The feature will be available in several countries like the US, the UK, Canada, Germany, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Hong Kong. Did I say Australia? Australia as well. The team lineups and the stats will appear as a floating display with the stadium view and spatial audio during the breaks. So you know how that works. You turn around and the sound moves around with you. That's pretty cool. You don't have to have the Vision Pro to get spatial audio, by the way. You can use the earbuds or the AirPods or the Maxes. Those have that. 4 of the 7 Friday night baseball games in September are going to have this 3D feature. Again, you have to have the Pro Vision. And full replays and highlights will also be available on the Vision Pro. I said Pro Vision. Apple Vision Pro. Let's get the branding right so that I don't get a call. All right. Some people are calling it Ramageddon. This is because of the AI. They're making different RAM chips than the normal consumer DRAM chips. And this is affecting phones, laptops, iPads, desktop computers, things like that. Raspberry Pis, anything that just has regular RAM, not this high-speed AI RAM. People aren't really making that very much anymore. So now they're calling it Ramageddon. Apple has already raised the MacBook Air price by $200 because of this global memory chip shortage. And they're now saying that it is hitting other parts of their product line. Bloomberg reports that Apple is struggling to keep the M5 MacBook Air in stock because they're having trouble getting enough RAM for it. The Apple online store was showing delays through September for the 13 and 15-inch M5 MacBook Air. We talked about this last week, about the new leasing feature, and I did say on the show in another segment, in case you missed it, that the Mac Mini is excluded from the leasing option. I looked at the Mac Mini with a higher amount of RAM. 14 weeks it's going to take. So it's just really pushing a lot of things out there. But there are some third-party resellers out there that have some models available if you're in a hurry, 1 to 7 day shipping. But they usually don't have the higher memory counts. They usually just have the base 16 gigs. So if you're looking for something better, you're going to have to wait. Apple is reportedly promoting the $1,999 base M5 MacBook Pro as an alternative to the MacBook Air for this back-to-school campaign, with some ads reportedly saying that the MacBook Air is subject to availability. Global memory shortage is being driven partly by the demand, as I mentioned, of AI data centers. Apple has also removed some of the higher-end memory configurations for the Mac Mini and the Mac Studio. Used to be able to get it with 512, a Mac Studio with 512 gigs of RAM. And now I don't even think you can get the 256 configuration anymore. I'm not going to look it up. But, they've been making it harder and harder to get some of these beasts of a machine. I also don't have $10,000 to buy one of these things. So it's, it's out of my price range, which is why I haven't looked at it lately. Despite the supply issues and higher prices, Apple's Mac business had its best quarter ever in June, the quarter ending in June, which was up like 30% almost. Tim Cook on that call called it the 10-year flood, the 100-year flood, excuse me. Apple upgrade plan locks you into major carrier. What that is we talked about the leasing plan and what is covered. You can get a Mac Studio, an iMac, an iPhone, etc. So notice I said iPhone. Well, at least in the United States, if you use the leasing plan for the iPhone, you have to have an account with either AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. You're locked into the 3 major carriers. Now, a lot of these bigger companies own what I would call boutique brands. As an example, T-Mobile owns Ultra and Mint Mobile, and Verizon, I think, owns Boost. Don't quote me on that, but those may or may not be available under the lease. You may have to have the branded name carrier, so AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. So any iPhone leased is technically unlocked, but will not be able to be activated. So I'm not really sure how they're going to do that. Well, I'm guessing they're going to put a eSIM block on the when they go to register the phone with the carrier. That's my guess. I'm not sure. They're saying this is for fraud and things like that, but who knows? One former Apple employee claimed the requirement could be tied to financial agreements that Apple has with the major carriers, but nobody's been able to verify if that's true or not. Again, these big carriers have smaller, cheaper names, like Mint Mobile, $15-20 a month or whatever. It means you're going to have trouble getting a leased phone on Consumer Cellular or Pure Talk or any of these other MVNEs. That's the main issue. Are you on one of the big carriers or are you on one of the other ones? Let me know. Stay tuned.
Hey, bookmark this.
All right, each and every hour we try to give you a website that you will find fun, educational, or at least entertaining. And it is back to school time. So we have created a short, we call it a shorty. It's a very long URL from healthychildren.org. It's way too many characters with dashes and minuses and slashes. So I made it easy for you. onlinetonight.com/back2school. All one word. Back to school with the number 2 instead of the TO. So onlinetonight.com/back-to-school. August is back to school month. It's a busy time for families and an adjustment for everyone after the summer break. Yeah, can you imagine letting your kids stay up till 11 or 12 during the summer and then having to get them to go to bed at 9 or 10 so they can get up at 7? That was the hardest thing for me to do. Healthychildren.org is a site that's powered by pediatricians and other child experts. It has pages of tips for families dealing with these back-to-school issues. So visit this URL, onlinetonight.com/back-to-school, onlinetonight.com/back-to-school. Remember, it's back, the number 2, school, all one word. That is this hour's Bookmark This, brought to you by Swag to the Max. I've teamed up with them to introduce my new line of pirate t-shirts. You can check them out by going to onlinetonight.com/store, onlinetonight.com/store.
Online tonight.
All right, so with the happy music, I thought I would... I have talked about the Eagles in Southern California more than one time. Jackie and Shadow, their current 2 birds for this season are Sandy and Luna. And Jackie was not looking so well a month or so ago. And then apparently she was attacked by 2 subadults who probably realized that she's not well. And so they were, going to help her get out of her misery. But the subadults attacked her. Then people went and rescued her, and they tried to help her out. It was several weeks with blood transfusions and testing and all that stuff. And we lost her Sunday or...
It was this morning.
This morning. All right. So we lost her Monday morning, and that was sad for some people. And I will continue to watch the Eagle Cam from Big Bear Valley to see what happens, because I'm curious how other birds know what's going on. Like Jackie hasn't been around for a while, and Shadow's still been calling for her. But now there is a female who is now got the white feathers, which means that, she is probably going to be ready in the December to February mating time. And she's been following Shadow around and like staying in his tree overnight. And then in the morning, she pops up to his branch and they talk, and then he runs away. But it looks like she's chasing him, and it'll be interesting to see what happens during December and so we'll keep an eye on that. But we were sad to see that Jackie has passed, because I've watched them for years, and it's been very interesting to see the whole thing. Like this year, we had drama because Sandy fell out of the nest, but that all turned out to be great. And then this happened. So there you go. Let's move on to something a little more interesting and fun. Wizards of the Coast revealed the first wave of new commanders for Mystery Booster Commander Edition at Gen Con. The set is designed around unusual, rule-breaking commander decks, some niche archetypes, forgotten mechanics, and multiplayer chaos. The set will contain 60 brand new legendary creatures, with some using the new rule breaker mechanics to bend normal commander deck building rules. The product is built for Commander Draft and includes more than 2,000 cards from Magic's history. Each 20-card booster includes 15 colored common or uncommon cards, a reprint wild card, a reprinted rare mythic commander, a new commander, an additional card, 2 future sight frame cards. There are 134 future sight frame reprints, including some appearing in foil for the first time. Every booster contains one of 121 playset cards based on Wizards' internal testing cards that you're not allowed to use those in a tournament if one of those type of players. It will also eventually be available through Festival in a box Magic Secret Lair. Currently, I think you can only get them from MagicCon events. I think the next one's in November. So if you're a Magic the Gathering fan, then you might want to check that out. Recently, a rare Nintendo cartridge was found in storage, and it could potentially get $1 million at auction. A box of nearly 100 Nintendo cartridges was discovered in a storage container in Wisconsin. The games include a previously unknown version of Super Mario Bros. And Duck Hunt. Experts say the cartridges were produced 2 years after the last previously known production run. They have several unusual differences, mainly the label, some of the screws on the side, the manual that's included, and even the circuit board inside is different than what Nintendo usually offered. The seller claimed Nintendo had originally sent the games to a metal recovery service to be melted down because they have gold in the contact, so they were trying to basically recover the gold that was in there.
Somebody stashed them away thinking they would be valuable someday.
Yeah, so more valuable than the gold inside the cartridge. And so they were supposed to be melted down and destroyed, but somebody squirreled them away. The cartridges are reportedly in pristine condition and have received the highest PSA grade ever given to an NES game. 3 cartridges are scheduled for auction this month and could potentially sell for, if not a single $1 million, but multi-million dollars. So there you are. Microsoft is testing a free ad-supported version of Xbox Cloud Gaming for Xbox Insiders. The program allows eligible players to stream select Xbox games they already own without a Game Pass subscription. Ads will not interrupt the gameplay, so I don't know where they're going to be, in cutscenes or in the menus. Microsoft says the test follows several principles. Ads only appear before the session. Ads will not determine which games are available. Players will understand why they are seeing the ads, and the experience will not be overloaded with advertisements. So that's great news. If you're an Xbox person, let me know if that's something that you think would be cool. Don't forget to check out the items available on our store, onlinetonight.com/store. And if you're a true fan of the show and you want to help us grow, we got some great benefits. Head over to onlinetonight.com/onair.
Online Tonight is produced and copyrighted by Smart Family Media. All rights reserved. Host Maxwell Smart. Producer and other hats worn by Victoria Smart. Views and opinions expressed are those of the host, guest, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, affiliates, or other advertisers.